Hey guys, and welcome back to another video on the channel. In today's video we're going to find the radius and interval convergence of a power series. So we're going to be looking at this specific example, so the sum from n equals 1 to infinity of n divided by 4 to the power of n multiplied by x minus 3 to the power of 2n. Okay, now this example was taken from a YouTuber. I actually can't remember his name, but I just got given a screenshot and we're pretty much going to go over this. So the radius of pretty much convergence is pretty much the distance from the center of its function in which pretty much the thing will diverge, or not diverge, well yeah, diverge, it won't converge. So pretty much the center of this particular one is at x is equal to 3 because it's been shifted over, okay? Now, the only thing we need from this to work out the radius of convergence and the interval convergence is the coefficient in front of pretty much the polynomial or whatever we have here. Okay, so what we call this is c of n. So c of n is the coefficient, so it's n over 4 to the power of n. And pretty much to work out the radius convergence, the radius of convergence squared is equal to the limit as n goes to infinity of the absolute value of Cn divided by C plus 1. Okay? So what that means is if that's C of n, that means C of n plus 1. We replace pretty much wherever this n with an n plus 1. So at the top there it would be n plus 1 divided by 4 to the power of n plus 1. Okay? So if we're substituting in this formula now, we have the radius of convergence squared is equal still to the limit as n goes to infinity of the absolute value of this term up here, so n divided by 4 to the power of n divided by this term here, so n plus 1 over 4 to the power of n plus 1. Okay, now there's a way we can rewrite this because this looks kind of ugly because it's fractions on top of fractions. We're just going to move this to the side and write it as the reciprocal. So we'll write it like r squared equals the limit as n goes to infinity, absolute value n over 4 to the power of n times by, and we're just going to flip this pretty much fraction upside down. So tip and time, so it would be 4n plus 1 on the top and n plus 1 on the bottom. Okay, now there's something we can do here is we can break this down before we evaluate the limit using index laws. We pretty much just have to look at this term here. So 4 to the n plus 1 is the same as 4 to the n times by 4. Now the reason why I want to make this substitution is because I can cancel out this 4n on the bottom. So I'll have r squared equals the limit as n goes to infinity, absolute value n on 4n, and then I'm just going to replace this top bit with 4 times by 4 to the power of n over n plus 1. Okay, then you can see straight away those terms cancel out. So what you're left with is r squared is equal to the limit as n goes to infinity of 4n divided by n plus 1. Now we can't evaluate this limit at the moment because if you were to substitute n equals infinity, you would get the scenario infinity divided by infinity, which isn't very helpful to us. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to break this thing down using long division. So 4n divided by n plus 1. Okay, so take that first term, so 4n and divided by that term there, so 4n divided by n gives you 4, place that up there, then multiply this number by this, so you get 4 times by n plus 1, so you get 4n plus 4, subtract it down here, so minus 4n plus 4, and if you've done it correctly, this term will always cancel out, so you're left with is minus 4 as a remainder. So we can rewrite n4 on 4n over n plus 1 as the same as 4 minus 4 divided by n plus 1. Okay, so there'll be a plus there. So we can rewrite it here. Now the reason why I wanted to do that is because now we can actually work out what this limit is going to be very easily. So we would have 4 minus 4 on n plus 1 absolute value. So as n goes to infinity, this term here is going to go to 0 because this term is going to pretty much go infinity. So if you have 1 over infinity, that basically means 0 because it would be like 1 over 10 million, and that's a very, very small number. So if that approaches infinity, it's basically approaching 0. So what we would do here is, alright, as n goes to infinity, minus 4 on n plus 1 will go to 0. So if you apply that limit, you're left with r squared equals the absolute value of 4 minus 0, so just leave absolute value of 4. So r squared is the absolute value of 4, which is just 4. So r is going to be the square root, so plus or minus square root of 4 gives you 2. Okay. So pretty much the radius of convergence is 2. Now, what that means is with our limit up here, our center is at x is equal to 3. So that means is if we imagine a number line, this is 3, you have to go 2 units here, backwards, and 2 units forward. So this would be 1, and this would be 5. So if it goes outside this interval here, it will not converge. It will diverge to infinity or something else. Okay? And that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, leave something in the comments, and I'll try my best to answer it.